home and then I just took a dog.
All right, good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Good. Thank you. If you don't mind muting yourself, that'll take care of the background noise. Appreciate it. We'll get started. Good evening. Welcome to the first meeting of the City of Akron Racial Equity and Social Justice Task Force. I ask you again, just mute yourself. That'll take care of any background noise. If you have questions, you can use the raise a hand function or the chat. And Brother Robert DeJohnette is helping me out. And so he'll handle that for me this evening. I'm very excited about the opportunity to make a difference in bettering Akron. You've been chosen because you are important to the process. You are important to the city. And I want to say how pleased I have been by your acceptance of the covenant and your wonderful comments that you sent to me concerning your willingness to serve the interests of the city of Akron. It's been very, very encouraging. I mean, people have been sending me back responses. I just want to be a servant. I just want to help. I just want to do what I can to help the city of Akron. And so we thank you for that. If you're joining in, we're glad to have you. Mute yourself, please, so that we won't have any background noise. Thank you. I've already asked if you got emails from me asking for your trust. I'm going to ask again. I do not take this assignment lightly, and I don't take it as Bishop Joy, but as a man with no title. Although people call me Bishop for this task, it's a form of address not intended to transmit any authority or any privilege. We want to operate as equals and treat each other with respect. It's very important to me. And so I'm going to attempt to lead through relational influence. And although I applaud and I thank the mayor and the city council for this opportunity, I ultimately take this opportunity as a trust for the city of Akron. I think of myself as the chief relational trustee of this important responsibility that we've been given. So I want to do my best for the betterment of Akron. Not only am I asking that you trust me, but I'm asking that we trust one another. We are human. We're going to make mistakes, but our hearts are to treat everybody with respect. I've been saying to each one of you that I've had the opportunity to talk to so far, kind of jokingly, but very importantly, we want to try something that seldom has been tried in this process: cooperation. I think we can work together and we can get some serious stuff done for the city of Akron. So I want us to model what we hope to recommend and to be what we hope to see. This will give us the necessary context for some of the difficult discussions that we're going to need to have in this process. The task force will oversee the work of making recommendations to the mayor and the city council in the areas of public safety, procuring and contracting, public service, neighborhood assistance, recreation, planning, neighborhood development, hiring and human resources. And the task force will also make recommendations to business leaders and other elected officials in the greater Akron area towards becoming more equitable in the respective areas of government. These recommendations are to be made, and I think I confused some people. One email said 2020. It's actually December 2021. We have till next December to work together to bring about recommendations. And so we'll be doing that. And then to do that with a fresh report each year for 5 years, coming back and refreshing what we've done. But the real work of the task force is going to be done in the subcommittees. And we look forward to bringing many grassroots people to the table. There's been some consideration, some confusion, some concern that we don't have enough grassroots people. We don't have enough people from the neighborhood, but that's going to be done in the work. This is the part where we gather together, plan, look at the various aspects, but we want to bring as many people as we possibly can to those subcommittee meetings, because we need to get grassroots people at the table. So You'll receive an email from me shortly that informs you of the subcommittee that you've been assigned to or asked for. All of us, except for just a very few people at the top, are going to be a part of the subcommittee structure because that's where the work is going to be done. I'll be meeting with subcommittee chairpersons to go over expectations with you pretty shortly. The Retzel Law Firm will be helping us with legal advice, taking minutes in the meeting, helping with any research that needs to be done. They've been asked to perform that task. And the task force meetings that we are having will be recorded for those who cannot attend. So don't worry if you can't make it, your schedule won't allow you. We meet on the second Tuesday of every month. We will record those. And by law, they will be streamed on YouTube, and I'll let you know where. I set up a new YouTube channel, but it didn't quite come through yet. So I'm putting it on my Bethel Facebook page until we can get that done, but I'll let you know about that. So I'm still working to finalize the YouTube channel. I didn't know all this stuff. So when you go on and get a YouTube channel, they have to send back, verify it, and then it takes 24 hours for it to come on. So that was 48 hours ago, but it's still saying they're working on it. The subcommittee meetings do not need to be recorded, and they do not need to be streamed. So this is basically for the task force meetings on the second Tuesdays. Those meetings will not be very long when we get together because I respect your time. I want to be efficient. I want to be effective with how we do this. So we'll let you know. You probably have seen my style already. It's going to be short emails. I don't want people to be overwhelmed. And then with the task force begin, we'll begin to work through those specific 6 areas. And then we will make reports back to the task force and see where we are and where we're going. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about working with you. I'm excited for the responses that we are getting have been very positive, very encouraging. And I think we have an opportunity to do something very, very positive and powerful for the city of Akron to make recommendations that will affect the structure of what's going on in the city of Akron. So that's the long and short of it tonight. If you have some questions or you want to ask something about, you can raise your hand, get the raise your hand function, or use the chat, and Brother Robert will help facilitate that. I got a new machine coming. It's called a D10ME, D-T-E-N-M-E. And it is a Zoom machine that is set up only for Zoom only. It's got 3 or 4 cameras on it, 3 or 4 mics on it, and it's 27 inches big. I'll be able to see a whole lot more of y'all. I want to see your lovely faces.
Bishop, Daniel has his hand raised.
Yes, sir.
This is Mayor Horgan. Sorry, when I signed in, I only put my first name. It's my kid's iPad, and I'm trying to navigate all that. Thank you,
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir.
I just want to listen. I wanted to take the time to personally thank each and every one of you for helping. As Bishop had talked about, I think we all started out as activists at some point in working, on a street level and at least on the ground. And so I appreciate your commitment to this. Secondly, I appreciate the Bishop's leadership and all of you that have stepped up to do this. This is important work for the city. It's important work for me. I don't doubt that this will be the most important public service work I do. So I look forward to sometimes some very difficult conversations, but I think they need to be had. Council President Somerville and I have both approached this as we need to do something big and we need to do something important, but we're going to need to involve a lot of people. There's no roadmap for me. I can't go back in 4 years ago and say, listen, we did this on this. And so I look forward to, forging a new path and working with all of you as we go through that. So I promised myself I'd keep it short. So thank you. I appreciate the hard work. And I know I'll be talking and seeing a lot of you in the future. So thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Bishop, I do ask if you would clarify the committee and subcommittee, because you have 87 people on the line. Is that the whole committee, or is that subcommittee members are included in that?
Okay, what I have done for this evening, and it will vary from time, is I have the task force on, And then I have every subcommittee, because I wanted you all to be a part of this first meeting and all to just kind of get briefed together to begin with. But you will be having subcommittee meetings, and I will inform you more about how we're going to walk through that.
Okay, there's another question on the chat says, how will the agendas for the subcommittees be set?
How will what be set?
The agendas.
Oh, I'm going to talk to the subcommittee chairpersons. We will send an email to you letting you know which subcommittee you're on or you've been assigned to. And that's not rigid. You can change if you want at this point. And then there will be another meeting for subcommittees also. But as you can tell how we're going to operate for this meeting, these are not going to be long meetings, but basically administrative meetings to set up the schedule, set up the infrastructure, assign the work, and get people working.
Okay. There's another question as to what subcommittee does workforce development belong to?
Workforce development is one of those particular subcommittees under the 6 that we have. And so they'll be working on those kinds of issues. If you want to be a part of that, all you have to do is email me, let me know, and I'll make sure that you're part of it.
So I think to clarify, is that a committee, workforce?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a committee. I think Pastor Stacy had his hand up. He's trying to ask something, I think. Or that's, I can't read the name.
I didn't see his hand, but he can feel free to unmute himself, whoever has their hand up.
Yeah, your name is not on it, but it says Big OWJR. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
That's me. That's Oscar Williams.
Hey, Brother Oscar. Go ahead. What you need to know, sir?
It's something that I just feel that we need to familiarize ourselves with. In the past, we had an HR director for the city, Yvette Pino, and also Richard Johnson preceded her. During that mayoral administration, Pino put together a diversity report. It was too good to be used, okay? Just to keep it short. When Richard Johnson and Ron Smith were assigned to do the same thing during the next administration, I told them about Yvette's report. He assured me at that time that this was going to be different, and he was flabbergasted at the results of what happened when he finished his diversity report. Those were never really made available.
Okay.
But they were good reports according to the rhetoric around them. I think we need to see what they were. I think a lot of good ideas were in both of those reports, and they need to come out. These are something a lot of people don't even know anything about.
Brother Oscar, here's what we would like to do. I would like you to make me aware of those. We'd like to pick them up in the subcommittees that we have and add them and review them.
Yeah.
But also we have a subcommittee called communication. This is something that I suggested so that the communication subcommittee can transmit to the city what it is that we are doing. Because a lot of times when this kind of stuff is done, nobody knows what happened. It's put in a report and we don't know what happened. But we're going to communicate. We plan to determine some form of communication, some mechanism of communication to communicate to the city as we move forward.
Okay, Bishop, I have a bunch of questions here in the chat. I'll start in the order that they have come in. Please ask the mayor how the city's anti-racism work will intersect, if at all, with Summit County, given the council recently declared racism as a public health crisis.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't have a great answer. Whoever, they're bound to overlap. I as we as we started to do this, we were concentrating on us as an institution and how we govern, how we effectively do economic development, how we hire, how we purchase, all of those things internally. And I think Bishop had mentioned it in the very beginning about how we show leadership in leading to other institutions to affect that same change. And so they're bound to interchange at some particular point with, I think, similar personalities and similar goals. Part of me says, I guess I really can't control what happens outside of the city of Akron, but I think we can affect change that way too. And so I don't know whether that clarifies it enough for you, but it's certainly something that, we can continue to talk about how that works.
Let me also, Mr. Mayor, if I can add on also, we, having worked on committees like this before and picked up some of those kind of things, as a group, we're going to address and deal with whatever comes into our purview. Now, we may not have the power, we may not be able to affect things directly, but we're going to address anything that we think is important. And the people that are being addressed can pick it up or not pick it up. But it's our responsibility to point those things out, make recommendations, and then see what happens from there.
Thank you.
And also, Bishop, the legislation for this will be sent to you to send to the group. And also a question is, what subcommittees report regularly on these meetings? Will subcommittees report regularly on these meetings?
Yeah, great question. At this particular time, I'm looking to set up the subcommittees before the next second Tuesday meeting, and then have subcommittees report at least once a month what it is that they are doing, how they are coming, what progress they are making, what help they need, so that we're on track for December 2021. So I'm going to monitor, the task force is going to monitor that progress to make sure that we're moving in that direction.
Okay, so Bishop, could you share for the group what the 6 subcommittees are, and also how are the teams broken up for the subcommittees, and how are the chairs of the subcommittees determined?
Okay, I did not bring that information, but I think I can do it off the top of my head, and Tamika's on here too, so she probably has it. But we have criminal justice, which is going to deal with police issues and all of those kinds of things, public health, housing, workforce and jobs, education, and communication. Hey, I did good for a 68-year-old guy. Got them all. So those are going to be the 6. You have already been assigned, and you'll get an email from me telling you which one you're assigned to. If that assignment does not meet where you want to be, all you got to do is email me, because I'll provide this for you in an email, and you can say, I prefer to be on another subcommittee, and we'll put you where you want to be.
So Bishop, do you know who the chairs are of the subcommittees as of yet?
Yes, I do.
Can you share that with the group?
I didn't bring that. It was real short.
Okay. Will the involvement of the task force and subcommittee be more within the group or within the community, and how?
It's going to be both. What we hope to do is look at any issues that we think need to be addressed, do any research that needs to be done for best practices, for what we think recommendations, what they need, how they need to be made, whatever we think it needs to be done. And then in that process, we want to contact whoever needs to be brought to the table. So that's been one of the reasons I've been talking about the fact that we want grassroots people coming to the table, because in my opinion, you can't solve this problem from the top down. We need to have some people from the bottom up who are in the neighborhoods coming to the table with information about situations that they are a part of. So it is a collaborative effort to bring all those people together and then report that back to the task force. And we're going to all work on what we believe the solutions are.
Okay. So is this an agenda that is specific to the city of Akron, or do we have locally based businesses on board as well?
We have businesses that are already on board. I think more will get on board as they start to see what we're doing and as we begin to create mechanisms for communication so that the city can know what we're doing, what we're up to, how we're approaching it. I think more will join in. I think this is going to be an effort that will join many people together. And I think it's going to cross, as the mayor said, this is going to cross boundaries. We're going to be crossing some things that have been done before, have been said before, but perhaps have not taken, they didn't get gravitas, they didn't get any traction, but we're going to pick them up again and make sure that they are in a place of recommendation that the city council, the mayor, and all of us can be held accountable for what it is that we're recommending.
Okay, and I'm gonna take these two at the same time. Can we sit on subcommittees just for information if we want, even if it's not assigned there? And will you share a list of all the members and subcommittee assignments?
Yes, I can do that. I can share a list in an email of everybody that's assigned. I don't know about, I'd have to, let me give some thought to whether we have people just sitting in just to be sitting in. Let me give some thought to that.
Okay. How should we properly report certain issues or areas of concern along with proper follow-up?
One of the things that'll take place in the next week, as soon as you figure out what subcommittee you're on and where who the subcommittee chairpersons are, you'll be able to report to them. You can email me at any time, and I will certainly address those things too, that we might be able to put them in the proper channels and work on them. So right now, I'm not trying to be extremely formal. I'm trying to be thorough, and I want to be to work with relational influence. If we need to do that, we'll do that later on. But I think we can identify the problems and work on them, get them to the proper place.
Okay, let me see if we have any more. Keep jumping back and forth. One moment. I think that's all the questions that's in the chat, and I don't see any hands raised.
Brother Oscar got his hand again. Go ahead, Brother Oscar.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I don't see it.
Some things don't require a whole lot of time to take care of. I was just wondering some of the pressing things like dealing with law enforcement can be proposed right away. Certain things like wearing your camera at all times, you know, and penalties for not wearing your camera and have it on. Certain things like that. I won't go on with the whole list I have, but that's just an example.
Brother Oscar, we'll take a look at what I sometimes call low-hanging fruit and see if those things can be done or not, or they're already maybe being done, or right. We can ask about them. We'll take a stab at that. Mr. Mayor, did you want to make a statement?
Yes, those all patrol officers do have body worn cameras. They are supposed to be wearing them, and yes, it is a discipline offense if they don't. So there's not. We can go back through those policies and procedures at some point when we look at public safety. Public safety being the courts, prosecutor's office, judges, policing. I think it's a broader topic in that. Yeah, so they're with the body worn cameras being around for the last 6 years, those have been on and they're supposed to be on. So if we can get to the specifics of whether somebody had one on at one particular time or not, and maybe there's an explanation or maybe not, we don't need to go into that here. But yeah, those are always supposed to be on as soon as they make contact. And there's a policy around that too. So thanks.
Brother Oscar, when you have your subcommittee meeting, we hope to put certain kinds of information into your hand that probably in some cases the public doesn't even have, so that we can work through some of those things that need to be worked through.
No.
Thank you for your question. Brother Robert, I see a hand there.
sorry, I was on mute. Eric Jordan has his hand raised.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yes.
Brother
Can you hear
Eric.
me good?
Yes, I can, sir.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Good. How you doing?
Doing all right. This question would be direct, I guess, to yourself and the mayor. And I know the big thing I've been thinking about is how to impact and reach out, to our youth, especially in the school systems. But with everything going on with COVID and virtual learning, hybrid and distancing, is there anything that we can either have in place or work to put in place? 'Cause I feel like a lot of these subcommittees can be reached out to our younger population. I feel like it's very critical and very important to be able to get in contact with them, communicate with them, and help them out. And that's something that I feel very strongly about. But with everything in place, it kind of makes it difficult. You can't just go to a schoolhouse anymore and talk to old teachers and get kids together. Is there anything that we can do to get person-to-person interaction with some of the high school and middle school kids and to help out?
Brother Eric, we are also very concerned, and we received already some criticism that there weren't enough young people on the task force. I have attempted to add some more. We want to go through and deal with and see if we can make some radical new kinds of movements to help young people. So yeah, we are equally concerned as you are with making sure that the younger voices are included and that we move towards them in a really strong way. So I don't know what the answers are, but I can tell you we're committed.
So Bishop, can you talk about the covenants or whatever you're having everyone sign from the city, or contracts that everyone will sign from the city that will be coming out or being sent out over the next week, couple weeks?
Yeah, the covenant is for, that's something that I created because I want to make sure that we are working together. And so the covenant just talks about how we're going to treat one another. And everybody signed that, and they've been very positive about it. There will be some specific contracts for some groups that'll be coming out in a week. We'll let you know what that is in the emails because of sensitive information that you'll be receiving, things of that nature. So I don't want to try to go through that right now. I'm not prepared to do that, but we will let you know if you're a part of that subcommittee.
And I do have a question. Will we have a standard template for reporting information to the larger meeting to ensure consistency throughout the process?
Yes, we'll create a template. Retzel Law Firm is helping us. We'll try to make sure that you have a way of reporting so that we all are giving the same kind of information and we can quantify that information, gather that information. And Retzel also is going to help us write the report so that we can make sure we are writing a report together and putting those things in good fashion.
Okay. One comment says family resource centers can be an outlet for our youth. And can you change your committee assignment is another question.
Yes, you can. All you got to do is email me and tell me where you want to be. And then we will begin to take all of these into consideration. But you'll get that from me pretty soon, within the next, before the week is out. Brother Robert, is that it?
I'm trying to keep up, Bishop. Sorry. Let's see.
You're doing a good job.
Someone has a question. Says, can someone help Mary Brooks ask her question?
Mary, you got a question? Mary, you're muted.
Let's see.
That was me.
She's having problems with the audio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has to.
Do we have another
Okay.
question, Bishop? Do we have a budget for the implementation of recommendations?
Yes, we will have a budget. You may be able to turn in requisitions for if you need to, you need something for your subcommittee. We will have that availability.
Tell Mary to unmute her mic down in the corner of her screen.
Mary, can you see where your unmute button is? In the corner of your screen on the right.
Because they were too bunched up in the laundry room.
Sister Mary, if you can't find it, just email me when you get done. Oh, there you go.
She's unmuted.
What do I do?
Mary, you're unmuted now. Go ahead.
I represent the immigrant community, particularly in North Hill.
Yep.
And I'm wondering how all this fits in with the immigrant community. They're contributing to the economy. They come here under difficult circumstances and they want to help.
I'm guessing, Sister Mary, because I work in the church, I call people sister and brother, but I think that you're chosen because we want to work with the immigrant community. So we need to probably figure out, get on the ground and figure out what we need to do to be able to help them. So we'll need your help on that.
All right, we have trusted people, and they're very good people who give a lot back to the economy.
We look forward to working with them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, Bishop. Is there a budget amount? What's the budget amount? And is there a certain amount allocated for each subcommittee?
There is not at this particular point. So we'll take it and play it by ear and see what we need and go from there.
Bishop, I could answer that for you.
Oh, go ahead. Sister Tamika's on there.
So there is a budget amount that the bishop has that the city has given him. If a subcommittee feels that they need to have a particular amount of funding to move forward, then they can make that request in writing to the bishop, and then he will send it to the city and you will be funded. In terms of budget amounts for the actual implementation, that is up to the subcommittee to formulate a budget for the actual policy to be implemented in the city. And we are asking that you come up with that budget, and then we will go ahead and upon the recommendation of the task force, we will take that upon your advisement, and then the mayor will look at that and see how he can put that into his budget in the coming years.
Thanks, Tamika. Tell me what I'm doing.
Mayor, do you have anything to follow up?
Mr. Mayor?
No, no, you put that very well. Thanks, Tamika.
Okay. Well, I think it's been a good first meeting. I will try to get you all of the information that you need. The next thing you'll be expecting from me will be an email telling you who the chairs are, who's on the subcommittee, which subcommittee you're on, and how we will proceed from that particular point. We hope to do that in a expeditious and an orderly manner. I appreciate everybody getting on tonight. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate your heart to want to do something to help for the betterment of Akron. And that's just kind of term I'm using for a better Akron. So that's kind of what I've been talking about. We'll work at it. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate your help in the process. We're going to have some difficult discussions in the subcommittees, but I think we're up for it. And I think we'll all give our best in order to have a better Akron. Thank you tonight. If you need other questions answered, please, you have my email. Feel free to email me and I will do my best to give you any information that you need. It's my pleasure to work with you. And I look forward to it. All right. Have a great evening.
I look forward to working with all
Bishop.
of you.
Thank you,
Thank
Bishop.
you.
Bishop, have a good evening.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Bishop. Good night, everyone.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.
God bless you all.
Thank you.
Ron,
I like to be a part of it.